Alright folks, welcome back to another What's the Tea, and I had some special things to talk about because some things happened today. Witcher 4 just had a new tech demo, and oh my, that is gorgeous. Apart from that, we're going to be talking about Elden Ring Night Rain and its mixed reception and why that might be. I haven't personally played it, but I have been keeping an eye on everyone's opinions about it to see if it's really worth the time because I was definitely mixed on this one. Also, we're going to be talking Doom the Dark Ages and how it's almost a flop to some people and why that may be. And Helldivers is getting review bombed again? Psh, it's the return of the Hellwhiners. Let's get into it. Let's actually start with the juiciest and new thing that just happened today. The Witcher 4, the tech demo, and the presentation. So this is kind of crazy. They're claiming this is going to be running on PS5, base PS5, with ray tracing and running at 60 FPS. And according to the devs at CD Projekt, it's all thanks to new nanite technology for the environment that is supposed to be a lot less straining on the GPU than it apparently looks, because looking at this game, my GPU wants to cry. Honestly, and my computer is sitting there going, nah, please, no. But yes, we will be playing Witcher 4 on the PC. And I am super excited about this. I loved this demo, and I love that they got into very deep detail about everything, especially after the entire Cyberpunk fiasco. I think CD Projekt Red has really shifted their focus to a more hands-on approach and really showing the nitty-gritty of how the game worked, down to the skeletons of, some of the different objects, especially the horse, which is looking to be one of the most detailed horses in gaming, next to Red Dead Redemption 2. Although it remains to be seen if there are horse balls. So we will see on that. I don't think there is that much detail like Rockstar, but you never know. You never know. I think this looks fantastic, and I am very excited because Witcher 3 is one of my favorite games of all time. I love to just play that whenever. As people always ask me, have you played The Witcher 3? I will answer, yes, I'm always playing The Witcher 3. But I do have some concerns about this. As much talk as there is about this not being super heavy and having trouble, I have some reservations because the update to The Witcher 3 for the next gen update did not go well at all. And even to this day, The Witcher 3 is a lot heavier than it used to be, even if you aren't using things like ray tracing and stuff like that. It's still a lot heavier than before. So, I don't know, man. It's kind of a 50-50 thing for me, whether I believe that this won't be making all GPUs cry, and if it's actually going to be keeping that solid 60 FPS on the base PS5. So, this may actually be the one game that pushes people to get a PS5 Pro, or even maybe Death Stranding 2. Both of these games are looking wonderful, super detailed, very, very beautiful to look at, and just will be unreal if they run as good as they're saying. Maybe we're in that generation now where people have finally grasped what is the best way to develop games on the PS5, because every generation, the first few years, always try to really push things and run into certain issues. Like on PS4 and even with PS5, a lot of things run at 30 FPS because they want to fit so much graphic fidelity. But a lot of people just cannot handle that 30 FPS, whether that's because you get motion sick, or it just gives you a headache, or because it just doesn't feel good to play because 30 FPS requires a set amount of input lag. So I hope we're getting into that part of the generation where things start running much better, and I hope this is that game. This and Death Stranding 2 are the games to really set that forward and set that in stone, that we've kind of learned what we're even doing with this next gen technology, or rather current gen now. The next thing I wanted to talk about was Elden Ring Night Rain. I personally have not picked this up yet because I've been on the fence about if it's something I'm even interested in. There are a lot of very mixed opinions out there right now Some of them ranging from this is a cheap asset flip, and From Software is just kind of drifting from what they are known for, which you can really see. I mean, it is using a lot of the Elden Ring stuff, but is that really a bad thing? Do you really need to mess with a lot of things that work very well? But on the other hand, you have people that are just singing its praises. Like, this is like the coolest thing ever. Teaming up with three buddies to just whoop on enemies in Night Ring at a very high pace. Like, that does sound like a good time. And working as intended, I think that could be great. But there are a few glaring omissions to this game that I feel like are perfectly viable complaints. Even like the fact that you don't have duos in this game is kind of crazy. And like the director of the game said, we just overlooked duos. Bro, how do you overlook duos? Like, how do you do that? I don't understand that at all. So hopefully they do address that and introduce duos in the future. Also, there is no voice chat, which is very odd considering the Souls games are known for, not explaining a lot of things. And I have a feeling that you are going to want to be able to talk with your buddies about what's going on in this game. We need communication, especially if we're actually going to work as a team and synergize things in this. So that's a very weird decision also. So we'll see how this continues and see how this lands a little bit in the future. I'm still going to hold off on this while they are fixing some things, especially if I want to try and get this on PS5, because apparently it still has a lot of the same performance issues that Elden Ring did. So maybe I switch to PC for this one. We will see. Also, I wanted to talk about the fact that Doom the Dark Ages is apparently a big disappointment. I don't think that's the most surprising thing ever, especially with all of the massive changes to the IP itself with this game. I myself was kind of mixed on the whole thing. If I had to have given it a number, I was around a 7, which is kind of crazy because the Doom 2016 reboot and Eternal, I feel like are both 9.5, if not 10 out of 10 games. I love almost everything about those games. Even enjoyed the multiplayer in the first one, less so in the second one. But they just gutted that out completely for Dark Ages, so you only have the campaign, which, for a lot of people wasn't a terrible thing if you had really utilized that to the fullest. But here they didn't really have the writing chops to really write an engaging story. They left out a lot of things, and most of this was just Doom guy aura farming, which is totally fine with me. But if you were going to cut out everything else and promise a very tangible and well-written story, this was not it. And a lot of people don't even think you need that, to be honest. And I kind of tend to agree with this. I mean, Doom 2016, if you go back to it, does have a story going on. It has just the perfect amount because you are intrigued on where things came from, what's going on, and not everything is explained to you at face value. So you are more intrigued about what's going on because it has an air of mystery about it. And I think that was the perfect amount of storytelling. I think Eternal really rode that line between too much and too little, because there was too little hints here and there during the actual gameplay, unless you were looking for the collectible pages, and more just explaining things to you in cutscenes and them still kind of not making a lot of sense until the DLC came out and didn't really correct that, but didn't make it worse either, in my opinion. But it did explain a few things that made it make more sense. But here in Doom the Dark Ages, almost nothing is explained to you. You start this game and it's just go. You don't know who anyone is, right? And what's going on. So that was a little bit weird. And the second thing that I do feel is a big tangible thing is the loss of Mick Gordon and that entire thing. That entire fiasco, I would even call it, caused a lot of brand damage to id and Doom in general, because a lot of people, if not darn near everybody, was on Mick Gordon's side and thinks that he should still be on this project. Now, I have no ill will toward Mick Gordon. I would absolutely not work with id. He quit id and not Doom, in his opinion. And, you know, I totally respect that. Doom, it really shaped his career from when that first game reboot came out, the 2016 one. And he really changed music in general with that in a way that no other video game has really had an impact before, which is insane. So I will forever be questioning why in the hell id decided to handle it the way they did, because losing Mick Gordon was like losing a big part of Doom's soul after the first 2 games. And that's my 2 cents on the whole thing anyway. Let me know what y'all think down below. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is, and granted this will be brief, Helldivers apparently getting review bombed, which to me is hilarious considering my last video was about how Helldivers is the best it's ever been. And you know what? I do stick by that. I do think it is the best it's ever been. But I also do understand a lot of the complaints. Some of them, no. Some of them, you're being dramatic. Others, you're not. So I play Helldivers both on PS5 and PC. It's not cross progression, but like I have both if I want to sit on the couch or if I want to sit on my PC. But on PS5, this game runs like crap. There is no other way to put it. I run into more bugs, and not the good kind of bugs we're supposed to be shooting, like the annoying kind, especially the visual kind where they still have visual glitches in the sky where you just looks like a neon light show, right? Frequent crashes. I crashed like 3 times in a row trying to load into a match within like 15 minutes one day. Like it's not great. The PC side, I have a lot less glitches and stuff on, which is kind of shocking to me, but a lot of that is still present there too. So I do understand the complaints about optimization and the complaints about, you know, all the bugs and things like that, especially since some of the reload glitches were back for a temporary time, and ooh, that is annoying as hell. And you still can't use stratagems straight after using a stim if you had one in your hand. So that's annoying. But like, I guess the biggest problem with a lot of the community, or at least a subset of the Hellwhiners, I will refer to them as, because you know it's the same guys that review bomb every time something doesn't go their way. They are mad that nothing really happened at the end of the invasion of Super Earth. I do think you're also being dramatic. So in my opinion, I don't think we really needed a big, huge event at the end of the Super Earth invasion, but I do think we needed something. We got 3 pages of briefing on like the rundown of how it went, but nothing was really in there that changed a lot of things or like made it feel like we moved anything forward, right? Or had any repercussions for losing any parts of the city. I think it's okay to have to wait to see the repercussions of those things in the future and to see how it shapes the universe in Helldivers. But at the same time, I do kind of understand that the end of the Super Earth invasion was a little bit anticlimactic. It just kind of happened and then it was over. So I had mixed feelings on that whole thing, but ultimately I don't think the game deserved to be review bombed for what it did, because even without like a banger ending to that event, the event was still fantastic. We got Siege soldiers, we got giant cannons under playgrounds, and the best combat sandbox that we've played with, considering the mixed up nature of the Illuminate, which, you know, a lot of people say they don't mix up nothing because we fought them for so long. But I really enjoyed the way the Illuminate fight, and mixing that with Super Earth, having the Sea Soldiers and the new mission types with ships rushing in at a massive pace and you having to just turn the entire area into a wasteland to beat it was a lot of fun, and especially on Super Helldive difficulty where it just felt relenting with, 10, 15 overseers chasing you around at one time. It was intense. And one of the funnest times I've had in Helldivers since Malevelon Creek. This got the closest to that feeling we've had. So I honestly hope they do more things like this in the future. So let's talk about what is in the works, what I've been up to. I have played through Kingdom Hearts 3 for the second time. And that is a really weird thing to say considering I have played through all of the others a lot more. Kingdom Hearts 3 was a very mixed reception for me. I was upset about some things and I loved others, to where I almost felt 50-50 on it. And I gotta say, I will give you a sneak peek to my thoughts, but I did enjoy this playthrough a lot more than my first one. So look forward to a video on Kingdom Hearts 3 and how I saw it a little differently this time. And also, I never played a Remind like I've said before, and I am planning on starting that here soon to see what that's all about and why in the hell Sora looks so high fidelity in Kingdom Hearts 4. I've heard why. I've heard why people say is why, but I just gotta see it for myself. There's not a time when I don't want to play something in Kingdom Hearts. Other than that, I also have played the entirety of Death Stranding 1, just to really catch up on the story and remember what I really loved about it, because it's been a long time since I played the first Death Stranding, and the second one is coming here soon. So I will say that I still loved this game about as much as I did the first time. It's weird. It's very, what is the word? Unconventional a lot of the time, and it is definitely not for everyone. But I think most people who have really put the time into this game and really gave it a solid chance have really meshed with it in a great way. The community inside of the game is super alive and well, which I was kind of worried about when I started it, because it's been out for a while and I figured this game's going to get a lot harder when porters aren't working together to do things. But to my surprise, there are tons online. It's not hard to find many structures, people still working together, and it's just a good time, man. I know a lot of people, including friends of mine, just watched the story through when this first came out, but I really do implore people to give this game a chance. I think after, the first 2 or 3 hours, which can feel a bit long with cutscenes and, tutorials and things like that, but I do think that all that's needed, given this is such a unique experience. Once you get set free on this and you really start, taking packages to these folks and ranking up and getting new tools to handle things, assault rifles, non-lethal assault rifles for very specific reasons, if you know lore-wise, and things like that, really turn this game into almost a Metal Gear-like game within 4 to 5 hours. Vehicles, stealth, takedowns, all of that stuff is still here. It's very Metal Gear coded, so if you really enjoyed playing Metal Gear, I really don't see why you wouldn't enjoy this, except for if you just can't handle the long treks and just soaking up the vibes during a trip, which I absolutely love about this game. I will be making a full video in the future, but I wanted to give some of my thoughts here and now. Anyway, that was a lot to cover. Hopefully this didn't balloon out to a huge video so no one wants to, give it a click. But if you made it this far, thank you very much. I hope you come by again. Leave me a like if you enjoyed it. Go ahead and leave me a comment on what the hell is the matter with you if you didn't like something. Subscribe if you want to see more from me or hear more from me. And you have yourself a great day. Peace.